This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Tuesday, September 27th, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From Bloomberg, UK's pound under siege with mounting bets it will drop below $1. In the wake of an announcement by the government's new leadership team about their new economic direction, the value of the British pound against the US dollar plummeted, reaching a low of just over $1.03 yesterday, which is the weakest value on record, though it did reach similar levels back in 1985. Speculators are now betting that the pound will reach parity with the dollar sometime before the end of the year, and this decline is being attributed to bets against the new government's economic plans, which include a slew of tax breaks and tens of billions of pounds in new debt to pay for those tax breaks, high inflation levels in the UK, and a generally strong dollar that's being propped up by global recessionary trends and the dollar's relative strength compared to essentially every other currency right now. From the Wall Street Journal, Italian right-winger Giorgia Meloni wins election as economic clouds gather. An alliance of right-wing parties looks set to win a comfortable majority in Italy's recent election, and the leader of a far-right party, called the Brothers of Italy, Giorgia Meloni, is expected to take control as the new Italian prime minister. This is newsworthy, in part because of the state of the world, which is embroiled in rampant inflation, potential recession, a European ground war, a continental energy crisis, and the many swirling impacts of climate change, and Italy's geographic, political, and economic centrality to many of those issues. Meloni is also Italy's first female prime minister, but it's also notable because the Brothers of Italy is a populist party that is the successor organization of a neo-fascist party called the Italian Socialist Movement. So although Meloni has said she's a pretty typical conservative politician, some analysts and other Italian politicians are concerned she might harbor fascistic ambitions. And from BBC News, Cuba votes to legalize same-sex marriage. About 2/3 of voters have approved a small collection of reforms in Cuba, which, among other things, will allow gay couples to get married and adopt children, and will give the go-ahead for surrogate pregnancies. Gay people were arrested and sent to labor camps as recently as the 1970s in Cuba, so this is being seen as a pretty big evolution for the country. Cuba's government promoted these changes and funded a huge nationwide publicity campaign for it, ostensibly as part of an effort to resuscitate its human rights reputation, following a whole lot of crackdowns on their citizens for even small gestures of dissent in recent years. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com, and you can support this and other related projects like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.